Can
Okay,
your viewers be
guys.
lagging? Mm.
Okay, guys. Let me introduce myself. My name is Prataz. I am a musician and I'm trying to learn media. So you can see, I'm a novice. And then next to me, is JJ Ong, who is like one standing away from the famous JJ Lin, but he's also a musician, a singer. He have his tracks played in Korea and a lot of other places. So he's a musician and media expert. That's why we are very lucky and blessed, to have him to come and share about how to be a sustainable musician. All right, JJ, want to introduce yourself because I think I always want you guys to introduce yourselves. All right.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm JJ. I have been playing music for um quite many years. I started many years ago when I was doing my diploma in Singapore Poly at this course called Diploma in Music and Audio Tech. That's where I started my first band and started playing music and everything. And then after that, I went on to start this music act called Falling Feathers and did quite a few things. It got me to where I am today. I used to be with Warner Music as an artist, and after I left, I right now I focus a lot more on education. I teach in Singapore Poly, the course that I used to study at. And I also teach at a few private diplomas, like the Songwriters Music College and random classes here and there. So I focus a lot on music education now, mainly in music business and digital
Mm-hmm.
marketing and things like that.
Okay. I
Mm,
think one reason why you're appearing today, right? Because actually you wrote I wouldn't say a few, but actually a lot of articles recently about musician, how to be sustainable, how to get your content out, that kind of thing. So what
mm.
actually drove you to do that?
Like number one, we are kind of stuck at home. So
Yeah.
also I think I've always wanted to try to help people back here
Mm-hmm.
to try to work towards sustainability, because when I
Yep.
first started, I had a very hard time lah. I had very hard time trying to become successful, I guess. Then after a while, I realized that I think being sustainable is a lot more important than being successful. Because last
Okay.
time when you were in school, I think when you go to music schools or in the when you start playing music, the impression is that, if you want to be an artist, you need to become like a rock star, a superstar. You need to have like a lot of fans so that you can have a proper career and things like that. Like you
Mm-hmm.
walk out of your
Mm-hmm.
house, people are waiting, queuing up for your autograph, things like that. And gradually, after making a lot of mistakes, I actually found out that you don't actually need that. Which is the main gist of the article that I wrote, lah. Like why being a sustainable musician is so much more important than being a successful musician.
Mm-hmm.
I Thankfully I've met a lot of people from Singapore and overseas that taught me a lot of skills, which uh, I was very lucky to have learned. And then, like, combining all these skills, I managed to, I guess, somewhat build a sustainable career for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Performing isn't something that I am looking to do full time in any way. Well, I used to
Okay.
want to do it, but now I'm more into other stuff, like trying to teach people and digital marketing and things like that. But I'm very lucky to have to be able to still have a sustainable income from my music, from things like royalties, sync licensing, and from direct support from people who actually listen to my music, like buying merch and things like that. So if I ever want to record music and I ever want to
Okay.
like make create content for my own music, I don't really have to invest a single cent into it anymore, because people I was very lucky to have built something um rather kind of sustainable, that I'm definitely not going to be able to make a full-time living with original music. But I'm lucky to have reached a place that I don't need to put in any more money to create any more music, because
Mm-hmm.
there are people already funding it. It's just a small group of people. It's not billions, it's not hundreds of thousands, but it's people that I have interacted with, engaged over the years, people who like my music that become friends, or people who enjoy listening to whatever I make, and they stayed on for a really long time. And the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
continuous interaction and engaging them
Yeah.
has meant I was lucky enough to do this, and I came to this realization that actually anybody can do it, as long
Okay.
as like, of course, music aside, good music or bad music, I believe that at some threshold, at some point, music is taste, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
I mean, of course, there is bad music and there is good music lah. But
Yeah.
I think that it's a fine line. It's a fine line. So no matter how good or bad you think you are, I think there is always an opportunity for someone to build a sustainable career in original music.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm,
So like you've been talking a lot about sustainable musicians. So I'd like to
mm.
share for viewers who haven't really read the article, I'd like to share about it like in a more concise manner. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I wrote this article called why shit what is it, why being a sustainable musician is so much more important than being a successful musician.
Yeah.
So I think generally the gist is a lot of people deem success as like being famous lah, being at a level where you are known and you are rich and famous. So I think generally the chances of you becoming successful, rich and
Mm-hmm.
famous and things like that
Mm-hmm.
is according to statistics and data is 0.00002% lah. So that's very low, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many musicians, they set out on their big music journey to become this rock star and superstar, or superstar. Even if you're a producer, like a superstar producer, or whatever you want to be, the chances are not very high, no matter how good you are, how talented you are. Even like a lot of people in Singapore, we when I was younger, I also always used to do this. We would like to complain that, oh, this is a terrible country to do music in. There is no support. Like audiences are not good and whatsoever. But I have come to realize that wherever you are in the world, it's actually the same. It's really difficult to become a successful, famous, rich musician. So I think instead of trying to do that, the the primary goal of original musician, in my opinion at least, should be to become sustainable. So by sustainable, I mean essentially making enough money from generating enough money from original music to allow you to continue to make music and to feed yourself along the way and things like that lah. So that should be the goal. Of course, it takes a while for someone to become sustainable, but it's a much more achievable goal. I think the chances of somebody achieving that goal is rather high actually, if you put in the time and the work and everything. I think sustainability is not a super far-fetched goal. So that's the gist of the article. And in the article, I stated some points of what I think someone can do to work
Mm-hmm.
towards
Mm-hmm.
that journey of becoming sustainable. It's based on my experiences and experiences from people I know that are sustainable or are building a sustainable career already.
Okay.
Mm.
So we have a lot of people watching. We have Joey Sim from Yamaha. We have Ying Long from City Music. We
Hey
have
y'all.
yeah, we have Mr. Wu Jiahui. Jiahui is a oh my god amazing singer and an amazing composer and songwriter and producer from Malaysia. If you listen to his voice, he's totally amazing. Daniel Chai is here. Ming Song, Rafi Dean, Alva Go from Ding Yi Orchestra.
Mm.
We have Keith Cobb from Soma, Tony Go from Grimrun Suite. We have George, George Leslie Paul, from
Mm.
Pentium Percussion. So everybody is actually supporting, in this stream because they want to find out more, about what you wrote, about sustainable musicianship. Although some of them are already very successful musicians, earning a lot of money from sessioning and writing and everything. But
Mm.
I think you know, like how do you what are the sources of income for sustainable musicianship?
Mm, I think okay, so my article mainly
Mm-hmm.
focuses on original music lah. I think in Singapore we have a huge pool of musicians that are making I wouldn't call it sustainable lah. I would say like really comfortable. Like they have a huge pool of musicians leading really comfortable lifestyles, being full-time musicians, and it's great. I think a lot of people are making income from sessioning, education, teaching, and things like that, and that was never the problem because I think in Singapore we do have a lot of very skilled and talented musicians who they are able to play nights. They have the perseverance to play many nights, and they teach in the day. And I think um, that's not something that we lack. In fact, it's something that it's very vibrant in Singapore, and something that I think we should be proud of, lah. So the article is mainly targeted at original music. So creating sustainable income through original music, and original music alone means independent of all your sessioning and playing nights, playing bars, and do teaching and whatsoever, and all of that. So I think generally speaking, a lot of the main bulk of musicians that come and go is original music musicians, because they just cannot find that so-called break. They keep spending money producing, production cost keeps increasing, video production cost keeps increasing, and they just cannot find income from creating music. So the ROI, return of investment, don't make sense lah. People keep earning money from sessioning, from playing nights to fund their original music, but the original music is not making money. So eventually people give up on that, even though they might be really good at it, like they are really talented and things like that, and people give up. So I think that's a very sad thing. It's a shame, which is why I hope that more people can look at it from this perspective, for a successful music career, instead of trying to build a successful music career. Mm, mm, mm.
Okay. I think your article is actually quite applicable. Like, it's like, Untitled Chapter is also, she read the article and said that, I thought actually excellent. Wow. So cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, then we have Jerry in the house. Yeah, Jerry's Hua. Yeah. Okay. So like if let's say but okay, like you just now mentioned you have a group of fans who are actually supporting you all this, right? What's and then I remember George from Pentian was actually talking about patrons and all this, right? Was that the outlet that you use for your music?
For me personally,
Mm-hmm.
Patreon is not a huge income stream for me. I have a couple of Patreons, and I think I make about 40 plus a month on Patreon alone. But Patreon is not a huge income stream for me, because when I first started to try to create this so-called sustainable whatever thing, Patreon wasn't really popular, and Patreon, was people were reluctant to sign up for Patreon. So a lot of my income from original music, at least, comes from other things like merchandise. Once in a while I'll do some limited edition merch, and then I will like put it out there, and people will order from me. So that's, I make some money from there. I also make some money via, so there's this thing, I wrote this article called I think 5 easy ways you can start making money from your music, or something like that. And one of the methods is this thing called print on demand. So print on demand is this amazing thing that has been gaining popularity in the past few years, where previously, last time when we first started playing music, like 9 years ago even, we had to, if we want to sell t-shirts, we had to print like 50 of them, spend a bunch of money before we can start making money lah. And then we end up with like a bunch of t-shirts in our room, nobody want to buy, things like that. So I think print on demand really solves that problem. Print on demand is basically this concept. There are a couple of websites out there you can consider doing print on demand with. Print on demand is basically this concept where every time somebody, you can list designs and t-shirts and mugs and whatsoever online on your own so-called web store, and they only produce the merch when somebody orders it. And how it works is that you don't spend any money at all for the production. You just make a commission. So
Okay.
let's say I sell a t-shirt for $25, maybe I make a $5 commission, and I don't need to pay any extra money for listing it on the site and things like that. So print on demand is where I make a decent amount of money as well. Like I said, I'm not making enough money, so like I think every year it differs. Like the more I do, the more support, but my focus hasn't really been on creating original music lah. But at its peak, I think I was making at its peak, I was making like maybe 500 to 900 per month, USD, depending. So from original music and original music alone. So, but now no longer, cause I haven't really been super active,
Yeah,
engaging with people.
true.
So yeah, so I think it's entirely possible. I don't really have a huge pool of fans or followers, but I think the idea of this article is that's not important. Like, too many people care way too much about numbers to the extent where they buy followers. It's really easy to tell when you go to someone's Instagram account or a YouTube account. I think if you are relatively experienced, once you go in, you can immediately tell whose followers are fake and who has real followers, and things like that, from judging by the analytics, statistics, and things like that. So I think this crazy obsession over numbers is really bad, and I think it's not really about how big the numbers are, but it's about how much the numbers mean. So
Mm.
somebody with a thousand followers could be making like way more money than somebody with 10,000 followers, because the person with 1,000 followers might have a more engaged audience. That means each one of that thousand is a lot more into what the musician is doing
Yeah.
compared to I think this is it's a problem lah. It's a problem in the sense where people are too obsessed with inflating numbers, that
Yeah.
people start buying like followers and
Yeah.
whatsoever. And when I first started making music, when Spotify first but like I think like a good 5 6 years ago, I also bought streams. I bought streams before, and that's a terrible decision. I made the mistake, and I will never make that mistake ever again.
Okay.
Buying streams, buying followers, and things like
Mm.
that. Because last time the perspective is that more followers, more better, right? But I think it's really important to
Yep.
focus on the quality of the
Yeah.
followers, which is the entire gist of this perspective of creating a sustainable audience, career,
Mm.
fan base
Yeah.
with original music.
I kind of agree with what you say, because
Mm,
like of course you know that I work for another brand, so the numbers game is also very important, because every time you go on Facebook page, you always see, can you monetize that kind of thing, or you're 5k, okay, good, you can do with partnership ads. But if you want to have more ads playing on the thing, you need to have at least 10k of likes so that you can do that, or you need to have like 30k of 1 minute views or whatever thing, or 3 second views, that kind of nonsense. So Facebook has a certain script criteria, and YouTube has a certain criteria. So all these online platforms, to be honest, they have all these criteria as a yoke to lock us down and force us to do certain things if you want to be an online influencer. But I from a brand perspective, if you're selling certain products, I feel that it doesn't matter whether like, because some brands do seed certain influencers, so they always like, oh, you look at people with big following, that, oh, like, let's say, wow, this is a pretty girl, I pass her the product, she's gonna use it and I'll get people to buy. But actually, don't people buy. Yeah, you get people knowing about a brand, but the people who know a brand are not people who are gonna buy. But I passed one mic to Jerry Chua, and one video from him, palm, instant, I still owe him a meal, a very big meal actually. Yeah, like based on his video, we sold at least 200 to 300 over microphones just on one simple video, and the view count isn't much, but sometimes it's view count itself, it's not important. It's who is
mm,
watching the video, who is the one creating the video. If let's say it's a Xiaomei talking about mics, nah, no credibility, because she's not an engineer, she's just a model. But if someone that has Grammy nomination, and is known in the industry as one of the big of the most professional mixing and mastering engineer, and he says that it's good, can jalan, people will trust it. Like, for example, if let's say, like just now I was asking JJ about the mic, he was saying that it's actually a very good mic that he's actually having. I might even buy that mic because I trust him, because he
hey,
has
thanks, man.
done stuff and everything. So it really is really, like for me, I speak from the brand perspective, because I'm working for a brand right now,
Mm,
and handling with influencers and buying online presence is actually important for us, which is why I will coming from a corporate point of view. But of course, JJ comes in with a more personalized point of view, because he's one of you guys. I mean, I was one of you guys, but I cannot make it as a musician, so like I go and sell koyo. Yeah. So.
Yeah, actually,
Mhm,
I
mhm,
think in my opinion lah,
mm,
I think whether it's personal or corporate, I think it's the same.
mm,
The concept is actually the same because I have been doing this for corporate people also lah. I mean that's how you make money for you know basically not from entertainment industry lah, right? So I have done digital marketing works for like insurance and things like that, and
mhm,
I think from a brand corporate perspective,
mhm.
it's the same because as a musician, um, most people don't think of it this way, but as a musician, you are a brand.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
a a
Mm.
figure. Even if you are a solo artist or you're a band, you are a brand.
You're a
So
product, correct.
exact.
Yeah,
I mean,
in a way.
yeah. In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what happens, it's the same. We are all trying to it's trade, right? It's an exchange of thing. It can be money, it can be information, it can be um entertainment whatsoever. It's just a trade, and I think generally speaking, as long as you have an engaged audience base, you can sell anything you want to them. Which is why every time if I work together with a brand or like
Mhm,
a corporate
mhm.
company to do digital marketing or whatsoever, the thing that I would usually push people towards is this concept called community building.
Yep.
So most of the time, everybody focuses on conversions and sales, and that's the first thing that people want, right? Conversion sales. But I think it's like your example, for example, your example of just now you gave Jerry a mic and he sold $200, 300 mics for you, and versus like you trying to sell it to 300 people, the effort, the ROI and things like that. So imagine you have 1,000 Jerrys, you would have sold 200,000 microphones already. So I think the concept of community building is to build that relationship with your Jerrys and your other people that have influence and have have an idea of what they're doing, or like they might be partners, they might be loyal customers, they might be potential collaborators, things like that. It's about building that relationship with people, and the conversion selling will come really easy after you build that so-called
Mhm, mhm.
community around you. Same for music and other things, whatever you're trying to sell. I think if you're able to find that correct audience and the correct community to lift you up, to build it around you, if you find 100 Jerrys, you have sold 200,000 microphones. So things like that, like building that relationship, building that community, is so much
Okay.
more important than that immediate ROI conversion, in my opinion, at least in from my experience.
Yeah, because I find that your
Mm,
idea is very refreshing because like previously I was having a talk together with two person that was actually in the Korean music industry. So for them
mm,
wise, right, they were actually commenting that the reason why Korea is very, very successful in music wise, right, apart from the fact that they all speak Korean, and then they are um they actually ensure that there's 80%. Of course, there's a lot of things that the government has been doing to support local and
mm,
promote local stuff and everything. But of course,
mm,
in Singapore where everything is all over the shop and that kind of thing, and content creation is not easy because we're fighting with everybody from US and everything, right? That's why I find your perspective is very important because there's no point for you to have like 100K followers but you are not sustainable, like what you say just now. Yeah, like you, I think 100K, even if you have like a certain amount of views on YouTube, you're not you're not gonna earn much on YouTube anyway because you're not big enough. Yeah,
mm,
you have to be sustainable. Otherwise, you cannot sustain your job as a musician. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, you're right. I think one very um I wouldn't say it's bad lah. It's a not fantastic mentality that a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
musicians have. Not just Singaporean musicians, every country that I go to, um, every musician, okay, not every musician, but a lot of musicians always have this perspective of, oh my god, my hometown sucks. The government is this. There's no support, like
Yeah.
and like eh, before I really traveled out and to meet musicians and like people from the entertainment industry, I thought, oh yeah, only Singapore like that. Everybody just complaining that this place sucks. There's no support, there's no funding, there's no whatsoever.
Mhm.
After I traveled out, I realized that this mentality is shared by a lot of musicians. Like, I've been to Korea a couple of times. I hang out with musicians. I've been to a couple of places here and there, like London, and I think not all musicians are like that for sure. There's a good majority that are fantastic, and they are really positive and they work towards a proper goal and things like that. But there's a fair amount of people that they are always harping about, like, there's not enough support, there's not enough funding, and there's the audiences are terrible and things like that. And I think instead of focusing on that, on like how the grass is greener on the other side, and actually never ever moving to the greener grass, instead of focusing on that, it's important to focus and appreciate what we have, and to make use of all the resources that we have. In fact, some people might argue that Singapore is one of the best places to do music because of the big fish, small pond, small fish, big pond concept. And we are really lucky to have a lot of huge companies having headquarters here. Like Spotify has an office here. Imagine if you are a musician in, I don't know, a place like Thailand, there's no Spotify headquarters. Like
Correct.
even if you wanted to, you cannot communicate with the person from Spotify. Not saying that you're here, you can just bang the door and knock into Spotify's office, but there is an opportunity to connect with these people at some kind of networking or whatsoever. You go down to a festival or whatsoever. Maybe you meet, like I have managed to. I was very lucky to, like last time I always go for shows. I support other people, and from there I managed to meet these editors from like from Apple Music, from Spotify, and to go on to build relative relationships with them, like, at least at the very least, you know who they are, and whenever you try to pitch some kind of music, you know who is at the receiving end, things like that. And through all these things, I have made really, really good friends over the years, working in labels, working in, working in distribution companies and things like that. And I think we are really lucky to have all these things. So instead of focusing on the things that we don't have, we should focus on the things that we have and try to make use of all these resources to build whatever we can to work towards a sustainable career. And I think it's really possible. It's in this day and age more than ever. I think it's really possible. Compared to, I think, okay, like, you're 100% more experienced than me in music for sure. But when I first started trying to play music, like 8-9 years ago, like with my band, and like going out for open mics or like gigs, there were always there weren't a lot of opportunities lah. And there was this period of time in Singapore, there was a lot of all these small scammy companies that do all these like pay to play gigs, like they force you to sell tickets.
That was quite cheesy, I mean, to be honest, I had that before, and then I refused because I was telling them, like, why should I, you should pay me to play.
Man.
And then after that, they were saying that no lah, we need to make sure that there's enough audience. After that, if no audience, they cannot ensure the concert, that kind of thing. Well, then I was thinking, if let's say, I am an artist, of course, to get enough audience is sometimes, as show organizers, they always have to face the risk of getting enough audience. Of course, if you have Zhang Xue or Liu Dehua, that kind of godly level people, right, or JJ or Steph or Chun Jia or Jian Ya, that kind of level one, right, or they play, of course you sell out lah, it's good lah, they have a good crowd. But if there's a beginners band, that kind of thing, right, that may not be possible. That's why I'm actually glad, like our boss Danny, and then there's several other bosses of venues in Singapore that actually support local music by letting them do their EP launch or whatever not, whatever things, I mean, regardless of whether they make money or not, because to them, just pay before my band now is okay, I don't make any losses. But whereas, some of those, like what you see, some of those organizers just want to make a quick buck out of us. Yeah. And then in the end, they if we don't sell, because, to be honest, musicians are musicians. and I say in a degrading way, because like a lot of musicians are trained to make music. They are not trained to be MLM promoters or insurance salespeople or to be marketers, that kind of thing. So that's why it is a pitfall, or it is a hurdle for a lot of musicians to like, wow, you mean after I go to MI or Berkeley and get my degree in music, now I have to go and do my diploma in marketing? But of course, to be honest, the world has changed. If you like, which is why I like JJ's approach when he say that you have to market the band or you yourself. Because if you don't push yourself out, no matter whether if you can, if even if you can play like Beethoven or shred like Steve Vai, but nobody knows it, it's sad. Yeah, I mean, I have friends who are very amazing musicians, but they don't market themselves. But no
Me
matter
too,
how,
man.
yeah, I'm like, then when I see them, I'm like, there's so many things that I can do with your marketing. I mean, not that I'm very good in marketing, but at least try lah. You don't try, you
Mm,
won't know what that kind of thing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's great that now we have a
yeah,
lot of
correct.
venues that support
Mm-hmm.
like it's back to that community building
Yeah,
thing again. Like they obviously don't make any money from people like us performing at their venues, right? At most we bring a bunch of friends, a bunch of people, then they get drunk. Yeah lah, maybe they make like a few cents from beers and whatnot lah, but they don't make a lot of money. So the whole idea is the building the community, because
yeah.
in the end we would be the ones that would see them through
Mm-hmm.
the storms and things like that. I think one relatively good example would be, there was this period of time, blue jazz was going through this thing with the license, right? I don't know if you remember or know. I think sometime last year, I think blue jazz, the venue at Bugis area, was going through this licensing thing, and then like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so many musicians went to like appeal and help the venue try to get back their license, although
Yeah,
it failed, like, but like in the end, I think it's about that community, in that
yeah,
community that these people build. It's not always about the money, it's about that community that eventually will find ways to give back to you.
yeah.
Same for
Of
original
course.
music, I think.
But of
mm,
course, like when it comes to original music, right? There's a lot of, I think it's a double. I'm not sure whether it is a good way for me to put it in that way, because like um I mean, you know that I have always been supporting local music. I
mm,
mean, yeah, I've always been, wherever you guys buy launch everything, I try to buy Apple Music, because I don't want to play through Spotify, because no pointless ma. In a way, like how many times I need to go and play your music for you to earn money for that. If I buy Apple, right, at least you get, I don't know how much you all will get lah, but or at least if I buy a CD or buy the Apple
mm, mm,
album, right, it's a lot more
mm,
sustainable for you guys, instead of
mm,
spamming the Spotify. That one a bit, yeah, kind of thing. So
mm, mm.
shit, I getting old already. I always forget what I want to say. But okay, but what advice, right, would you give to like beginning musicians who want to break in? Yeah. I think
mm,
that's something
mm,
something interesting, because I see a lot of I think Singapore has a lot of community. Correct.
mm,
You just added me
mm.
into a group today. I
Right.
joined a few other groups, that kind of thing. There's a
mm,
lot of cliques all around. And then a lot of the younger guys were like, wow, like how do I go and hang out with the big boys like Ting Long,
mm,
Terrence, they all, or
mm, mm, mm,
like all the big boys in the Chinese scene? How do I get to know
mm.
them, that kind of thing? Yeah. So so
If
so
okay.
yeah. I mean, you know what I mean, right? So like, what advice would you give, to a budding starting guy who maybe just graduated from the cell, or who just went to Yamaha music school, and then oh, I want to play music, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I think my opinion is an opinion that a lot of people will disagree with, but my advice to younger musicians is don't care about all these lao jiao super. I mean, sorry, but don't care about all these people who are huge already, or like they
Mm-hmm.
have like great achievements, because it is not your responsibility too. I think I made this mistake when I was younger. I when I first started playing music, I went to a lot of gigs, a lot of shows, purely to get to know people, like I don't know, man. I cannot even remember, but like basically to get to know all these big boys, so that I can have a shot in the music industry. Because if I know them, means I got more opportunities, and that's my perspective, lah. But okay, for original music, original musicians, at least at the very least, I would say the most
Mm.
important thing is, number one, focus on your music. Focus on making great music. Focus on making music that is as good as you can make. Whether other people think it's great or other people think it's terrible, really doesn't matter. Focus on making music that you want to make, and make it as good as possible. That is the first step. and not going out to try to get to know all these big boys, because all these big boys will have thousands and thousands of people going up to them and they're not going to remember you. So it's really not much point, unless it's like a genuine organic connection.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just happened to be at this gig and I bumped into Jinfu. Hey, Jinfu, you at Diety? Wow. I'm looking for a new mic. Like, yeah, okay, if it's organic, great, fantastic. I think that's great.
You make it
But if it's not,
like you make it organic because I can sell you stuff. Haha. No, but
yeah.
that being said, that's also one method. I'm not saying that
Mm,
it's a wrong
mm,
method, but I'm
mm,
saying that if you want to, actually I do agree with what you say, because
mm,
like in many times, like for example, I get approached by a lot of people. I don't even
mm.
remember who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
I was probably one of them many years ago.
no, it's like you who are that kind of thing. Then we thought,
Exactly.
I was there. You when okay, one thing, it's not that we don't remember.
Yeah, we just
We
cannot. There's
are
just too many people.
and also, when you get older, the CPU jialat already. So in the defense of all my friends who are there, we
Mm,
are
mm, mm,
I mean, we got limited CPU, and then after that, time is running. We need to go back,
mm,
production
mm,
call,
mm,
production meeting, that kind of thing. So we GG,
mm,
it may not be a very good situation also
mm,
for
mm,
all,
mm,
all, all, all of them, because yeah, there's so many things running that they can't remember things.
mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm,
so that's why, always, you want to
mm,
meet
mm.
someone, make sure that you create the situation that you can meet and talk properly. If not, don't
Mm,
bother. I feel maybe don't bother, or if not, you
yeah,
have
kind of.
to make sure that you have at least 10 seconds to get the contact, and then to follow up with a meeting. Otherwise, no
Mm.
point. Like
I
you,
think
yeah,
I think
yeah.
you're right to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree, but also at the same time, I think the or like the mistake I make, and I'm sure a lot of people do this as well, is that they spend a lot more time trying to make contacts than make music, which is the other end of the spectrum. So there are two types of musicians. Like, one is like, I'm at home shredding all day, practicing until I die, and I'm not gonna go out to make contacts. And there's the type of musician that I make some music, I'm not even gonna practice anymore, I'm going out to try to get my music promoted so that I can meet all these people and become famous and rich and things like that. So that's the two ends of the spectrum now. And I know very little people that fall in the middle, and I think in the middle is the best place to start. I think meeting people should always be organic. Meeting
Mm-hmm.
people, of
Mm-hmm.
course, okay, from a business standpoint, purely from a business standpoint, there's crap lah, because you as a businessman, you want to create opportunities for your like
Yep.
opportunities don't come to you. But from a original music person standpoint, my goal as a musician, as an like the whole reason why I'm existing on this earth, is so that I can continue to make music that I like. So I think it's about finding that balance to be able to make music that you like, and also to continue to make a sustainable career. And I think the most important people as of today is not all these big boys and all these promoters, all these people that can get you signed to a label. They are okay, I wouldn't say that they are not important, but they are not as important as they used to be, because you can become a sustainable musician even without all these people knowing you. Yeah, I was in Japan a while back, and I met this guy. um Probably shouldn't mention his name, but I met this guy. He makes music by sampling porn. So he samples porn, and then he makes like electronic music out of it. Fantastic guy. Not too sure about the music, not big
Okay.
fan, not big fan of the music, but he makes at least $5,000-6,000 USD every month from releasing one track, and one track alone, because he has this huge pool of horny Japanese fans. I mean, whatever niche you choose, whatever genre of music you decide to do, that's entirely up to you. And I think every type of music has their own audiences. Like, this guy, it's insane. He's like 19 years old, 18 years old. He's making more money than I can ever imagine, making from music, just by like talking to his fans about their favorite, you know
Okay.
think
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So in short, okay, this guy went the super off the route
Mm,
by, but he also create interesting content for himself and his fans, and
mm,
basically he has a target audience.
correct.
he has a unique selling point, and
Mm,
then he has he knows what he wants in life.
mm.
He's not afraid of the stigma because he's just sampling the thing. He's not making porn.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
He kind
Yeah.
of in a way, but of course he's just a sampler, a content creator.
Correct.
I mean he is a musician by right. I mean seriously. I mean of course keyboardists and there's a lot of people do samplings and stuff, but he take it uh to one extreme end, but it's still making money because there is a ready I think marketing wise, right, if I'm in the unorthodox brand, right, I will actually do that also because there's actually it's a unique selling point, and then people understand, people will spread, and then after that when he goes back to what he wants to do, people will still, hey, hey, actually this guy can make other kind of music too, kind of thing. So but of course I'm not saying that you should all go and sample JAV and then you're gonna do if
Actually,
you're good
right.
enough.
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, continue.
Actually, I think this is what I used to think also, but my perspective has changed over the years. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, like people like myself, when I first started making music, I want to make music that can appeal to a target audience, can
Mm.
appeal to people so that they will buy into it. But I think over time that's not very sustainable and effective because you as a musician get jaded and tired of making music that other people want to hear. So I think if I can do it, I wouldn't say this is advice lah, but I think if I can do it all over again, I would do a lot of things different. Like first, I would release and write music that I truly like and want to make, not music that I think other people want to hear, so that I can get a audience that likes the material or whatsoever. I think that is one important point that I would personally do if I were to redo everything again, because the whole idea of, if you cannot even convince people to like what you like, then
Mm-hmm.
like, why are we even doing music? If so, like, a wise man once told me this. Like he's somebody that I really respect. He used to be my lecturer from poly. He's now my colleague. He told me shit. What did he tell me? He said somewhere along the lines of, well, I also getting old already, Zifu.
Sorry,
um
forgetfulness spreads through online. So this is one thing. That's why we must have social distancing. Even online, we can spread our disease to each other. All right. Okay. If you cannot remember,
but he
just hold the thought first. Hold the thought first.
but
You can you remember?
yeah, kind of. It's somewhere along
Okay.
somewhere along the lines of, if you want to become rich and famous, like go be a banker or go be a lawyer, because that is obviously a easier way to become rich than being a musician lah. So if you choose to be a musician, the goal should probably always be to make music that you want to make, because that is why we
Mm-hmm.
we are musicians in the first place.
Okay.
We love making the stuff, and we have some kind of story to tell. We want to tell
Okay.
something. So I think, from the get-go, the goal should be, in my opinion at least, the goal should be making the music that you like first. Then find people who would like the music that you like, because there is
Mm-hmm.
always, there's always an audience for everything.
Yep.
And whether the audience is big or small, you can always find that audience. And once
Yep.
you manage to engage that audience and continuously engage them, you have yourself a sustainable career.
Yep.
Which is the entire theory that I drew from. There's this theory called the 1000 True Fan Theory, written by this guy called Kevin Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
which changed my whole perspective on this lah. So I think, number one is make stuff that you like. Number two is go and find people that also like the stuff that you like. Number three is build a relationship with them. And I think that's pretty much about it. Like that's the three main
Mm-hmm.
steps to build a
Okay.
sustainable career.
I
Mm,
I something to add on to this.
mm,
Because I've been doing a lot of live streams under Dating Microphones Asia, and we actually interview a lot of YouTubers.
mm,
So to my surprise, a lot of them, right, they are the very big ones. They said one thing: if I review a product, I'm not going to say that it's perfect, because all products will have flaws. And if the manufacturer cannot accept the flaws, then I will still post it because it's my right as a reviewer to tell the audience that this is important. And if the manufacturer accept it and improve on it, I respect them.
mm.
And then they do that, and they still get a lot of following and a lot of support from the manufacturers, because they know that this guy is there in terms of honor and ethics and everything, and is well respected. People don't only want to hear all the good stuff.
Mm.
then there's no difference between you and the ass kisser, that kind of bootlicker, that kind of thing. So
Mm.
this is something that I learned from some of my YouTuber friends who are very big in all their countries.
Mm.
And then another thing I also remember posting about this like way eons ago, like like I will see, like being a content creator is like, if let's say you're selling fried chicken, if
Mm.
the chicken is not good enough for you to eat it or for people to eat it, right, then don't bother. But if you really want to compete in this arena, make sure that your fried chicken can beat the minimum standard of KFC. If not, don't bother. Correct what? Yeah,
Mm.
if let's say, like, I mean, of course we can't because when it comes to music, it's not objectified. You can't like, it's not like, for example, you're doing film sound, or you're doing like TV filming. Oh, minimum standard 4K, you're not 4K, you're out. So at least, but for music wise, of course, it has to be good enough for people to like it, or at least like what you say, lor, you
Mm.
need to
Mm.
find 1,000, at least, people who appreciate it, then it will work. It's just like making a product, like a
Mm.
microphone. You need to find enough people or convince people that you are the best, and then can ready. Okay, so we have one comment
Mm.
for Philippines.
Mm.
So
Mm. Mm.
Ted is from WhatsApp Philippines. He's actually all the media over there, and he's very supportive. He's
Mm.
been supporting us a lot. So making music now is much easier and more independent because of technology today. But marketing is still always a challenge. Social media marketing is there, of course, but it's not that easy, even though it's actually easily available, which is quite true.
He's right.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why I stopped at some point. I stopped bothering about the big boys, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to learn how to do digital marketing, trial and error.
Yeah.
And I think digital marketing has brought me a lot of rewards by learning digital marketing, because digital marketing is as easy and accessible as it seems to be. It takes a lot to figure it out, I guess, and the algorithm changes like every other month, so you have to figure out the new algorithm again. Like
Yeah.
I was just doing some experiment on IG stories to figure out, like, the new discovery algorithm. But it's something that I find that I'm really passionate about, lah. Like, or even, even as passionate about it as music, which is why it's something that I'm doing now as well. And I think when we were younger, the entire mentality was, oh, we need to wait for someone to discover me. We need to be able to get into contact with this person so that I can, get somewhere. But I think at some point I got really tired of that, of being dependent on someone to be able to get where I want to. So like, screw it, go and learn. You don't know how to do, just go and learn. Then once you learn how to do it, then you are able to bring yourself forward, at least to a place where you can find, some sort of
Yeah.
income sustainability or whatsoever. So and there's this issue, of like one example that I guess I can draw from, is that, there's this thing, like this huge craze where every single original musician out there is trying to figure out how to get on Spotify playlists, because
Mm.
obviously there's one way to promote your music, lah, right? But there is no hard and fast rule. There's no formula to get on to Spotify playlists, because it's of course now there is like a computer AI curated playlist, like Discover Weekly and things like that. It's a AI curated playlist, but of course there is also a bulk of playlists that is curated by actual humans, lah. So humans are unpredictable creatures. We can never expect our song to be definitely playlisted, no matter how good our pitch is, or no matter how famous we are. Like, even my friends working at Universal Music is, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this, but okay, so people at labels are
Yeah.
also, working very hard to try to get huge artists onto playlists. It's not just, like independent artists like us. So the problem is, we are very dependent on this thing called Spotify playlists, because consumers are using it. Spotify has a huge chip on it, and whatsoever. So we spend so much time trying to get on playlists that we cannot get on, because there's so many musicians in the world, and that many playlists in the world. So if we cannot get onto Spotify playlists, then screw it, make our own, grow our own playlist, grow our own following, which is what a lot of people have been doing. And it's something that I have been experimenting with as well. I started a new. I started trying to grow playlists like 1-2 weeks ago, and I'm finding quite decent success doing it. So I think the apart from the digital marketing thing, the idea is, like, if we can try to be less dependent on what's out there and who can help us move forward, and find ways to be more independent and push ourselves forward, that would do a lot of good in the long run, because we would not only gain the momentum, we are gaining expertise and skills that will continue to help us grow. It's not just as a musician but as a person, and all these skills can be utilized in many ways, like helping your friends grow playlists. Then your friends got other lobang, they share with you, back to the building that community thing, which I think is really important lah. One thing that I always tell when I teach, one thing that I always tell my students, or I tell fellow musicians, some people are not old enough to know this guy, but I always tell people that, if you know who Stephen Lim is, like the crazy guy, Stephen Lim.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Lim got
Mm-hmm.
called. So if Stephen Lim, right, can be like, he's doing this full time, like he's being Stephen Lim full time, whatever he is lah, if Stephen Lim can do this full time, right, there's no reason why a talented, awesome musician cannot. The one thing that Stephen Lim has that a lot of people don't is perseverance.
Yeah.
And he's shameless lah, of course. But apart from that, it's perseverance. And I think that is something that I really took away, and I think it's something important that I'll continue to share with people, because there's so many talented people around, and they are so good, they are really good, but people just give up, which is really sad to see.
True. True.
Mm.
I think if you want to go down this route, you have to be prepared for it, and you have to chung. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't chung, then you no point lor. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Xiong, and also I think something that I learned over the years is consistency lah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yep.
it's not always about the quality and it's not always about the quality of music or videos that you put out, but
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really about the quantity also, but it's more about the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
You and the algorithm, especially on YouTube, the algorithm really supports channels that are consistent. The
Yeah.
more you upload, doesn't matter if your video is 5 seconds, 50 seconds, or 50 minutes, the more you upload, the more the algorithm favors your channel, and the
Yeah.
more you appear on suggested, discover and things like that. I think same goes for music. The more you release, the more people consume. The
Yeah.
the more you can build that trajectory towards an exponential, sustainability,
Correct.
sustainable career.
I
So
Mm-hmm. I do agree because
mm,
like for example I mean all you guys are my friends so I've been live streaming every night, so everybody thinks I'm crazy, but
mm,
I feel that live streaming every night, or even on my brand's page, I actually created actually Facebook actually recognizes all my efforts, and then there's so many people coming in due to recommendations. When I see the amount of people clicking on the video based on
mm,
recommendation is like, even versus paid is now only 20%. I have like 20% paid, 20% organic from my own fans, and then I have 40% or maybe 35% recommended, the rest are through shares. So that
mm,
was very interesting, because I had people I never met before coming into the stream and say, oh, I came in because Facebook say it's good, recommend
mm.
me to come and click on it. So and all those guys stayed all the way because our topic was engaging. So there's something very important, like this experiment, and this worked for me, because like I rather have organic people who like my streams, my product, my content, rather than paying. I still pay for boosted posts, but I rather than paying like $100 for each boosted post, but I get people who, like we were all doing experiment. Like we posted one post, we sent to certain places, and then after that we have people coming in, asking about how much, but they're not interested buyers, because they're not people they're just asking for fun. But
Mm.
after that, I when I did on my own other experiments, I find out that trying to get people who are interested to buy, we can go through actually other routes or better targeting. So like what you're saying, it's always about find out the log, find out how it works, and then playing that game with the platform. You have to dance with them, unfortunately, and dancing always involve like the Chinese always say, to learn mahjong you must lose money first.
Yeah, I lost so much money, man.
On Facebook and YouTube and Google Ads or whatever not, to learn how they work, you must lose some money first.
Mm,
But then, that being said, like okay, like if let's say you're a YouTuber with 500k worth of fan, do you
mm,
still need to boost your posts?
mm. Um, in my opinion, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's in the digital world, it's all about a balance. So there are a few basic fundamental skills to have as a digital marketing person, I guess. No matter if you are a musician or you're trying to sell a product, I think there are some I think there are a couple of basic fundamental skills that people should know. So number one is this thing called SEO, search engine optimization. You can do SEO on every platform. Uh, well, most platforms you can do SEO. You can SEO your YouTube video. You can SEO on like you can SEO article. So all the articles that I write is SEO optimized and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
SEO is something that is important because that promotes organic discovery, right? So and another thing is
Yeah.
SEM. Search engine marketing, which is what we do when we run Google ads on random web pages or YouTube or things like that, SEM and things like that. And I think these two and after and is the third one, I think, is general social media marketing knowledge, understanding how to navigate through the ad interfaces and like how to select targeting. So a lot of things people don't know. I figure it out by other people telling me, or like spending a lot of money and then losing it. So it's like like on Facebook, there is like it's just a some just an example of stuff that we don't really know because like it's just not advertised to us. Like on Facebook, when you run ads, there's an option of selecting the target audience, right? And then you have like then maybe you select musicians. Then there's an option to click to narrow audience. So you can be like musicians who also like garage band, so like you narrow down the audience and things like that. So something that a lot of some people don't know is that the more you narrow the audience, the higher your cost per click, cost per view. So if you can at the first stage find that keyword that targets musicians that likes garage bands instead of doing that funnel thing, then you will be saving like 50% of the money and things like that. So it's like
Oh,
trying to find ways to
okay.
like of course it maybe by tomorrow this thing not is wrong already because a algorithm change again. But like things like that. So it's about trying to for me at least, it's about figuring that out and trying to make use of every single tool available. So for YouTube SEO, I use this thing called TubeBuddy that allows me to search for keywords and try to find the best keywords. Then I can rank my video using these keywords and things like that. So there are a lot of tools available, and whether you are trying to get organic traffic or you're trying to get traffic through paid ads, I think it's good to have to play both fields
Mm.
because
Yeah.
they
Correct.
bring in a different type of audience. And some products and businesses, organic marketing is still always the best. If Jingfu or like George or like whoever like tells me to buy a particular thing, I would buy it because they are my friend. This word of mouth. So organic is like 100% organic. Still, word of mouth to me, one of the best marketing things ever. And I think in throughout my years of trying to make music sell or helping other people grow their audience, I came across this important concept of inbound versus outbound marketing lah. So a lot of people always do outbound marketing, which is the hello, I selling this super mic, like 9.99 only for today, buy now. So there's like outbound, and there's inbound marketing where you just do stuff and you sit on your chair, then you wait for people to come to you. So the chances of you closing deals on inbound marketing is a lot higher. And I think inbound marketing can be done through SEO, SEM, and things like that if you do use the right keywords and right audiences. Same for, like even on Instagram, there is this thing called hashtag strategy, where there is a particular strategy that you can use to try to make the most out of your hashtags. Most people just hashtag randomly, but if you just do some keyword research, you are really able to rank your post to appear on the explore page a lot better. So I think it's about that, again, that balance, trying to utilize both organic word of mouth and digital marketing, paid ads, and things like that, to try to find that balance and see which one does better. Like, you just move forward a bit, then once you figure it out, you create a formula of your own, then you boom, then that's it. You fly forward until the algorithm changes again, then yeah, okay, figure it out again.
True. Yeah, that's why I guess for digital marketing it's not easy, because you're like dancing with a partner that changes the footstep every time, and then it's painful when they change because they don't tell you, and you have to figure out yourself, and then you will get lost in the rhythm, and then you ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's very painful. I promise you. but
I
but
know, I feel
I
you.
love it
I'm
lah.
doing it.
I have come to really enjoy it, because it's very interesting and challenging at the same time. And the best part about doing this is when you see results. Like,
Mm.
you run this ad for like $50, and then it's like, oh damn, there's no clicks. And then you try again with a new parameter, new perspective. Then $50 gets you like, whoa, like a lot of conversions. Then it gets you excited lah. I think it's super exciting, and I love it.
Yeah, true. I think that's the fun and crazy part about marketing, which a lot of I think a lot of musicians don't understand that. Like I have quite a lot. I think the guys watching the streams where people like calling Daniel Dior, but I mean they are very famous sessionists, but
Mm.
market they're also like I remember Daniel did his bedroom series before, and that was actually pretty good content,
Mm.
but I don't think the views was actually quite good, because like there wasn't a lot of marketing done, which I think he
Mm.
got no time to actually market itself. So it would be actually quite cool if you can actually I don't know, like do a like aid agency for all these musicians that we have in Singapore. No, because that would
Mm.
be interesting, because to be honest, a lot of them they don't have the time, and they don't know what they're playing with, because they never played this game before. Like you
Mm.
ask them to
Mm.
play a
Mm.
guitar, to play Flight of the Bumblebee, they can do it maybe faster than all of us combined.
Mm.
But you
Mm.
ask them to do marketing, SEO thingy, they're like, that one can eat or not?
I know what
Yeah,
you mean lah.
yeah,
I
it's a
think
different ball game.
the main problem as to why there isn't I've tried to do it before. I think the main problem as to why there isn't like a established music marketing agency here is because most people cannot afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are not sustainable. So which is why I really always try to encourage people to think of it from the sustainable perspective, because even for me, as a digital marketer, or like somebody who does digital marketing, if you as a musician are making money from your music, it means you can pay all these people, like animators, the video directors, digital marketing people,
Mm-hmm.
to market your music without actually losing money. So I think sustainability is something that I preach a lot. It's also because of this, because it doesn't just benefit you as a musician, it benefits everybody in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Musician more money, they buy more diety mic. Like, it's just the cycle, and
Yeah.
the like, the more money
No,
diety makes,
different.
yeah, they make better microphones, like, from based on research and things like that. So it always comes back to that community. So as a musician, the more sustainable you are, like, I just bought this mic not long ago, and I just bought the stupid new SSL interface, like, oh shit, damn nice, and things like that. So like
The
it
two?
all, yeah,
Yeah.
SSL 2 plus. Cause yeah, I mean, like, you just buy stuff lah, because yeah, musicians lah, gain and whatsoever, and you support your local music stores, and it all comes back. It all comes back. Like, um I know City Music is doing this live thing also. Like, musicians are participating. So like, the more money musicians spend, the more money they make to grow their whatsoever inventory or whatsoever. And at some point, if the musicians can make more money from their own music, then they can support all these other music businesses, which eventually will help them grow. So back to the why I think sustainability is important. It's not just about you, but it's about that community. It's not that Singapore got no talent or Singapore got no resources. We just got a lot of people that are really good that give up halfway because they just cannot see that light at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel, which
Yeah.
is used to be me. Then after spending a shit ton of money and gonna scolded by a lot of people, then like, hey, I found this interesting concept that is to me absolutely a game changer.
True. True.
Mm-mm.
I think that's pretty much very important for all of us lah. And of course, you got compliments from one of the big boys, Daniel Chai. Say good point.
Something that I love about all
Mm-hmm.
these so-called 老教 musicians, right, is that not all of them are like that, but I have met a lot of all these so-called very established musicians like Daniel, Eileen, his sister, and like people like big producers like George and people like that. They are so humble and so kind, even though I obviously have not close enough as many years of experience as them, but they are so open to listening to what I have to say, and I think that is really really good. Like, it's not something that I expect, because that in Singapore, you have this like boomer thing where like all these some of these 老教 people think that they are really good, and they are just up there already lah. But like something that I really really am heartened by is that all these amazing superb musicians that have been in the scene for super long, like Daniel, and like even people like Jack and Ray. When I first met them when I was in poly, like, they were super nice and very very humble people, and it's something that I think it's very valuable in our so-called music community lah. Even though there is a lot of all these small cliques, and there are still really good people around that are very willing to share their knowledge and help each other, and not look down on younger musicians like myself, or even even newer musicians that are trying to make it. And I think that is something very valuable that I treasure very much, and I appreciate a lot. And I hope that when my generation goes older, we can be like that also lah, to try to help the next generation and finally build a proper music industry that
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
has money flowing in.
True. True. I think that's important because if we don't do it ourselves, yeah, nobody will do that. And then like Daniel just say, thanks JJ, like actually Daniel is his I mean all of them are all continuing, or they're all still continuing the learning and everything. That's why a lot of them, some of them, they are actually here. like
Mm,
like I was actually talking to Jeremy Montero recently also, and then I was asking him,
mm,
hey bro, because I didn't expect him to be one of those first guys to start his own live streams.
mm, mm, mm,
Because
mm,
you see Jeremy, right? He's this Jovi jazz pianist and composer and whatever not,
mm,
but
mm,
but
mm,
his generation maybe like, hey, how do I get on live, that kind of thing. But whoa, instantly palm he's on live doing all these kind of things and everything, and even with better overlays than me. Like for me, I take the easy way out. But by that being said, he went all out, just to do, because like to him it's like, if I do, I'll do it all the way. If I don't do,
mm,
then if not, myself don't do, that kind of thing. And even for an older gentleman like him, right, he can still do it because it's always about the mentality, which is something very interesting.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Which I feel, like I think we are blessed because like in Singapore, we have a caring and sharing older generation, although they may be intimidating, but actually they are very nice and they are supportive of the younger generation. Not like other places. Other
Mm.
places is really very cutthroat. Yeah.
I mean, okay lah, not everybody is nice lah. In
Yeah,
every
I know, I
industry
know, I
there
know.
is
Definitely
like
they'll be
nice.
like
Yeah,
nice
there
and
is.
and the
Yeah,
shitty, which we will not name. But the nice one we will name lah, definitely lah, because they're nice and they deserve to be named.
yeah,
Um,
a lot of them actually.
Yeah, a lot of them actually lah. But of course, no matter where you are in every industry, it's a cutthroat thingy. Like even in the
Mm.
microphone industry, like for example, of course, like we play very fairly with the big boys like Sennheiser, Shure, all these. But but then we had people copying us or our concept and design,
Mm.
and belating us for our innovation, that kind of thing. So
Mm. Mm.
like there are even other companies who even copy the entire whole design blatantly, and then naming our
Mm.
products after after our naming convention, which is like what that kind of thing. So there are people as cheapskate and all the kind of things. I mean, I will just say openly because it's an open secret. Like who the hell, like, if let's say, if let's say, like, you have a new microphone called JJ.
Mm.
Then I steal your design and then I call it JJO.
Mm. 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 Mm.
It's like, it's just a passing off, as a kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it's brutal.
Yeah.
I think we are not here to cherry coat everything,
Mm. Mm.
but
Mm.
of course, in every industry there is competition, and yeah, which is why JJ took this route to learn and to up himself and to make sure that it's sustainable, because otherwise, you will be like the hermit in the cave that can play 1,100 BPM on
Mm.
guitar
Mm.
licks,
Mm.
but
Mm.
nobody knows you. But you are
Mm.
good lah, but nobody still knows you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think in this generation there are some musicians um that are really good at their instrument, and also they have a good concept of this sustainability thing like,
Mm-hmm,
even
mm-hmm,
they might not know exactly what they are doing, they are
mm-hmm.
working towards that. Like there's this I happen to know this saxophonist called
Yep,
Daniel Chia. Yeah,
I know
Daniel,
him
right?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know him a couple of years back, and I love talking to him because he's a smart guy, like he is not just a good saxophonist, and he might not be super, ultra digital marketing, like, and things like that, but he does stuff that makes sense to his music. Like instead of trying to get on, cause he does saxophone music lah, right? Like trying to get on Spotify playlists is like there's no there's like it's like one or two Spotify playlists for saxophone music. So it's like don't even try. So instead of trying to get on Spotify playlists, he approached a lot of independent playlist curators and built a relationship with them. Such that every time he okay, maybe I might not be 100% accurate on this, but somewhere along these lines. So like every time he releases some music, an independent playlist curator will just feature his music because he has a good relationship with them already. Like then the playlist is not small, they have like hundreds of thousands of followers and things like that. So I mean, Daniel is not super old, but he's not super young either.
Mm.
He and to be able to find a way out in the like he's being served like not fantastic cards. Like everybody's using Spotify and he's making saxophone music. Very hard to get on Spotify playlists. And but he found this way out. Like he found another route to find an audience, and I think that's absolutely amazing. And not everybody has to learn digital marketing, SEO, SEM to become sustainable. You just need to find the method that will work for you. And just like like somebody like Jeremy Montero, like he's super experienced and he's been there. You wouldn't expect him to be chonging for live streams, right? But he did. He's doing it, and
Yeah.
I think it's
That's
a
amazing.
yeah, to each his own. You don't have to do what everybody is doing, which is something that I am quite puzzled by. It's like like nowadays, like everybody do live streams lah, right? All the musicians, it's like, oh, jumping on this live stream bandwagon. I see my friend do, I must do live stream. But the main thing is they don't ask themselves why. Like some people do live streams. I think it makes sense. Like for someone like yourself, you have an objective in mind. Whether people like us or your audience know that objective or not, I mean, doesn't really matter lah. Can already. But a lot of people that jump, not just musicians, a lot of people that jump on this live stream bandwagon, it's only because everybody's doing it, not because they have a goal or objective in mind. So to me, like I don't do live performance, I don't do live streams also because I mean, I'm not really looking to become a performer, proper and things like that lah. But even if I was, I probably wouldn't jump on this live stream bandwagon immediately also, because in terms of like conversions lah, like I mean, I think sometimes the ROI is better if you do like a pre-recorded thing, then you upload and you try to push it elsewhere on on Reddit or something like that,
Mm-hmm,
than
mm-hmm.
trying to do this live stream thing at a time when literally every single person on the planet is doing it. If like now there's a couple of people watching your live streams, which means that they are not watching somebody else's live stream. So like everybody's competing for the audience, and it might not be a fantastic idea to jump on this live streaming bandwagon just because everybody's doing it. If you are doing it, I mean, same goes for anything else. If you are doing something, I think it's really important to try to figure out the why and the objective rather than the actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
So same goes for
Yep.
everything. So I
Yeah.
think like you doing this live streaming is fantastic because I mean whatever your goal and objective is, I do watch some of it and I think the topics are interesting, and
Okay.
it's good to always learn new things lah, and to never stop growing.
Alright. George Low in the house. Hi, George.
Hey George.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well. Okay. We have actually reached more than 1 hour plus of interesting sharing. So if you guys have any
Nice.
questions, please ask us now. If not, we will call it a day because it's past 12 already. But of course, everybody say musicians don't sleep till a certain timing lah. But
Yeah, man.
I still need to cook breakfast tomorrow morning and all this kind of things. So I bo pian. I house husband, but I'm not married.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm married to 10 guitars, but yeah, yeah. Alright. But guys, if you have more questions or if you're too shy to ask or you don't know what to ask, you can always PM JJ. JJ is approachable.
Mm,
Or you can PM me. I'm
mm,
also
mm, mm.
approachable. You guys know me. So if you want to find out more about maximizing your SEOs and everything, right? Do talk to JJ. Of course, if you want it to be very serious, you can actually engage him as your marketing consultant. I think that will help a lot because like of course we can help, but there's a limit to free help because if let's say it's like we don't ask Josh around to mix and arrange for free, right? Same thing. So of course we can give you the simple guidelines on how to do it, but of course that being said, if you want a very consultative kind of session, right, then actually you can approach him to arrange for one. Of course, I think he will give you guys a
Mm.
good rate, hopefully, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I
Yeah,
think the main goal is to help people
yeah,
not really to make their money, but to help them become
better
money
and
making,
bigger.
so that next time they
Correct.
can pay you and me more money, right? Because they're making money, mah.
Yeah, correct. So it's really spinning the wheel, as increasing
Mm,
the
mm.
wheel, so that actually it come back with even better ROIs. Okay lah. So let's give GG a round of applause.
Hey, thanks for that. No gift for doing this. I think it's a lot of commitment, not easy.
Yeah, okay lah. So it's late. It's around 12:21. We all need sleep and stuff. Okay, maybe JJ don't need lah, but I need lah. Okay. All right. So without further ado, once again, thank you JJ and thank you guys for
Using
watching
cool.
everything. If you have any more questions, just PM us. We will try to answer it. All right. So don't be shy.
Mm.
Just shoot us the questions. All right, and then call it a day.